in real estate. What have you guys heard is the perfect day in real estate?
Close 5 deals by lunch.
We love that. That is indeed a perfect deal. Yes. What about, like, I know everyone's heard about morning routines, get up and exercise, make your phone calls, right?
Have lunch,
Okay.
get home, take the kids off the bus.
Yes, bingo. Maybe fit a golf game in there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I'm gonna take a little bit of a different approach to this. I go through phases, right? Where I'm like big seasons of life, where I'm like, whatever, I'm like really into exercise for 9 weeks, and then I'm like, I'm gonna take a step back because I'm exhausted, right? So instead of looking at this from like a day-to-day picture, I wanna look at this as like an entire week, all right? So if I'm gonna tell you guys what I do, and then I wanna hear what you all do. Okay. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a teacher, like my dad. And so he he like bought me a piece of this whiteboard stuff, and I love writing whiteboards. It's just like brings back childhood. It's exciting. All right, Mondays. Who's on a team in this room? Almost everyone. Cool, awesome. Teams are great. You guys have team meetings?
Yes.
Yeah.
How many times per week?
Once.
Once, Monday mornings?
Yes.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Ugh.
Everyone on Monday? Yeah, that's fun. Can't go too hard on Thursday night, right?
No.
Okay, so our Monday mornings, I wake up in time to get to the office. This is the season of life that I'm in right now. So I'm gonna wake up, I'm coming to the office from 8 to 9, and this is prep. Also, I write like a 10-year-old boy, so bear with me. From 9 to 10, we have RLT meeting. All right, from here to whenever I get tired and go home is, well, let me rephrase this, 10 to 12 calls. Okay? Do you guys have designated call blocks in your schedules?
Yes.
Yes. Keith, why don't you do yours?
Mine are typically from 9 to 11,
9 to 11, do you do them every day?
at least 4 days a week.
Hell yeah, me too. I'm on a very similar train, and this is something new that I've started, and I love it. I love it. It's been very exciting, and it's definitely helped my lead generation. So 10 to 12. Once I get past my 10 to 12 call block, the rest of the day is catching up on weekends, doing admin stuff, whatever I need to do, whatever my marketing looks like. But also, full disclosure, I don't have kids and I'm not married, right? So like my schedule probably looks a lot different than other people in this room, all right? So I can work until 9 p.m. and no one notices, right? So my Mondays is strictly office days. I don't take meetings this day. I try not to schedule showings this day, typically because houses are selling on Saturday and Sunday, and by Monday, you're not really looking at them. So Mondays, meetings, or Mondays, just catch up. All right, Keith hit on this. I have a call block every single day. Even on Fridays, 10 to 12. I do my absolute best not to schedule meetings in that time frame. Now, this is real estate and shit happens, right? So, like today, I had an inspection, right? That was in the morning. It just had to be that way. It was either that or wait until Friday. We can't wait till Friday, so we have to do it on Wednesday. So, today, this week's a little bit different from doing Popeyes all week. But like between my car stops, I try to make one phone call between each car ride, right? Maybe that's paying attention to a client that texted me, maybe it's answering an agent, maybe it's a proactive phone call when it comes to lead generation. But even if I'm not getting my 10 to 12 call block in the office, I'm trying to fill it in the rest of the day, okay? So it happens. The rest of the week, other than this, it's up for grabs. Again, sometimes it's later, sometimes it's earlier, sometimes like today I have to go to Apple and get a new phone. Like all stuff you don't plan for, just like life. But this is consistent. Saturday and Sunday, we're showing houses all day long, right? But that is what I found works for me. And then typically speaking, Tuesday through Friday in the afternoon, starting at 4 o'clock, I work primarily with buyers, right? Buyers are not gonna be, most of the time looking at houses during maybe lunchtime, probably not really any other time during the day because they're working a typical 9-to-5 job. They can't get out and see them until 4 o'clock or later. So right now, especially in a crazy market, this has been something that's really helped me, is to schedule my Thursdays through Fridays from 4 o'clock to basically whenever daylight ends, like 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, depending on daylight savings, just to block it out for showings. And if I don't have any showings today, awesome, I go home or go grab happy hour with a friend or whatever. But this is something that's like, I'm a big happy hour person. I do a lot of happy hours with people, and sometimes it's exhausting, but this has been a really great way for me to try to say, hey, I want to try to do coffees in the morning before my 10 to 12 call block to get me excited for the day, to get me energetic. I still have some time, if depending on what time I get in, to catch up on some admin stuff. And then obviously the rest of the day I can do whatever I need to. But if you're working primarily buyers, that's been something that's been a massive help in my schedule. I would recommend. That's all I have for you guys. What do you guys do?
Well, about what you do, you say you're doing a lot of pop buys this week. Who are you popping by? People's houses,
Great question.
businesses?
Both. Taking a little bit of time to build. So like when I first started doing Popeye, I started dressing up for Popeyes when I was in my first year of business, just to get excited about them. And now people are like amped up about it, and I like can't stop doing it because I'll literally show up to people's houses for like just a generic pop by, not like a holiday specific pop by, and they'll be like, "Where's your outfit?" And I'm like, "Oh, shoot." So that was just background on this to give you some reference. But as far as who I see, it just depends, right? Like I've gotten this year I'm much more targeted on my pop by campaign, so I try to do one pop by campaign per month. This month I give out little green bags with lottery tickets and gold candy. And my goal is to hit on past clients. But what I'm also realizing is that some of my business partners, I have like a really awesome business partner, referral partner at Northwestern Mutual. I went into her office yesterday and I met like 4 different financial advisors that I have never met before, and I already have relationships with 4 in her building, right? Hopefully that I'm building relationships with to get referrals from. So right there at Northwestern Mutual, by making that one stop to see Emma dressed like this, like if I was dressed in normal people clothes, no one would have thought twice about me. But because I am dressed in this, it's a little bit of an attention grabber, and people are like, "Oh my God, that's so funny, haha." They start talking to you, inevitably they're like, "What do you do?" Real estate, boom, easy connection. Who do you refer, right? So that has been, I've realized when I'm in costume, which I don't really recommend starting, to be honest, but it has its pros and cons. But like that has been so helpful when I go to a big business, or like I stop by like my insurance agent he works at State Farm. Talk to a couple of people there that I wouldn't normally talk to. I have a group of clients, which is really cool, that have referred each other at a company right across the street. And so I had 4 clients in that building. So we sat and we chat at lunch. I said, "Hey, can I come visit you guys, pop by at lunch and drop off these little goodies?" Great, and I met 3 of their coworkers just sitting there. So popping my businesses, I think, is really huge. But also not being shy, if that makes sense. So that's what I've been doing. But then I see past clients and things like that. It just goes in waves. Yes, Justin.
Maura, of course, I'm privy to knowing some of your systems and other stuff because I work with you. I know one thing that you do that is impressive is some of your templates. And can you talk to everyone about some of the templates that you have and how it helps your communication with your clients?
Justin, thank you. What CRM are you guys using? CRM, Referral Maker, Follow Up Boss, Excel spreadsheet, Google Sheet. Google Sheets. Google Sheets. Cindy, what are you using?
Keith is using Follow Up Boss.
Keith, you're using Follow Up Boss? So I just made the switch to Follow Up Boss, and I freaking love it. Holy smokes. And it's been a little bit of a learning curve. I switched, I think, in November, and kind of went through like November, December. I really used as like a transition period to get everyone over. But it is so cool. And one of my favorite features on it, now that you can do with whatever, but I have a very systematic approach, primarily when clients go under contract, based on questions that I've gotten a lot. And if anyone wants these templates, I'm happy to share them with you. But when my client goes under contract, they immediately get an email from me that I have in my Follow Up Boss templates but you could just copy and paste from a Word document into your email that says, hey, these are your next steps regarding your EMD inspection, appraisal, I'll let you know when it's scheduled, all this stuff. So it's all of the next steps in one spot. And then 10 days before closing, they get another kind of scheduled email. Now, these aren't cookie cutter. I still try to go through and like be specific with them. But that's been pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it makes,
Thank you for asking questions.
yeah, and I just get tired of the questions. So I send it to them in an email.
Is that something that you pay for?
Follow Up Boss?
Yeah.
I think it's $70 a month, but it's worth it. Like, Cindy, it has made such a big difference on my business. Like, and I don't even use it remotely as well as I should. But like, it just helps because it happens when you like get leads and you're like in the middle of stuff and you're like, oh my gosh, like I'll catch up with you later. And it reminds you like circle back with people, or people that weren't ready to buy a house last year, but now like I have a system in place to help keep them like ready to rock and roll throughout the year. Touch base that way when it comes to next year when they are ready to buy, I'm going.
I'll
We're
get
good.
with you on that.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm so glad we switched. It's a little technical, but it's cool.
Awesome. I'm gonna get that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so, I mean, I love it. So, what else? What other questions do you guys have? What are you struggling with? What's going really well?
What does your call block look like as far as who you call and the conversations you're having with people? Is it cold calls? Is it past clients or?
A cluster. It depends. Like this call block, don't tell Benjamin Rogers, but I spent the entire time writing contracts and trying to get stuff like ratified. It happens. It's a Monday morning. Like you're trying to finish stuff up through the weekend. Typically on Mondays, I'm calling people in my 212 group. So I am in like a referral networking group. I try to call those folks, my top referral sources. So like my family, I call them every Monday. Sometimes I'll call them like the car ride home, but like truly, like they are some of my best referral sources. So I try to treat them as such. And then who else? Sometimes it's just people like, hey, we didn't get a chance to catch up at the end of last week. Can we touch base today? And then honestly, after that, I don't have a system. It's just whatever happens that day, whatever I'm in the mood to do. Which sounds bad, but I'm like, I would rather be excited and energetic about this than be like, I have to call these people today. Like some people are like really intense about who they call on which days, which I think is great, right? And I would love to be better at that in certain aspects. But sometimes you're like, man, I just had a really annoying phone call. I'm gonna hang up the phone and call my favorite person in the world, you know? And that helps.
No, I'm like you.
But as long as you like actually call them throughout the week, who cares? That's my opinion. Other people have different opinions.
Do you take some of your people and call them in the afternoon and have the 9 to 5 jobs that can't talk, or call them on the weekend?
Yeah, Keith, that's a good question. No, I don't like to talk to people on the weekends. I want to show houses, like, and this has evolved a lot. And right now, I'm in a little bit of a phase where I'm a little jaded, right? I'm a little jaded, I'm a little tired. So, on Saturdays and Sundays, I want to show houses, and like, I just want to chill out, you know? And so that's kind of my goal. But on Sundays, I do have a call, or not a call block, a period of time at some window where it's like prep for the week. And that's super helpful. I pretty much sit down, I do brain dumps. Have you guys ever heard of brain dumps? I don't know, Kevin, my brother, just, I don't know if he like made up this term or what, but it's literally everything you have to do. Could be like so small, like text so-and-so and write it all down on a piece of paper. Oh my gosh, I started doing it a couple months ago now, and it has made such a big difference. And just like all the little stuff that kind of falls through the cracks, like, and then it's so nice when you can just cross it off the list. So like on Sunday, I try to do a brain dump of everyone that I need to call, talk to, write a note to. Maybe I was talking to so-and-so and I heard they got a new job. Great, I need to make sure I send them like a congratulations note sometime this week, right? But just little stuff you hear throughout the week that you forget.
Yeah.
Because things get busy. So when a client, I call them like in the 10 to 12 call block, and then I'm on the phone with another person or client or whatever contractor, and then they call me back. I'm like, shoot them a text. Hey, I'm so sorry, I just jumped on a call. Can I call you right back? Maybe, or hey, can we catch up after work today? Or on lunch, let me know. And sometimes they don't answer, and that's okay. Staying present.
Yeah, you leave a voicemail, right?
When you asked about cold calls, who does cold calling? Does anyone do cold calling?
I've done it for my current job and this,
It's crazy.
it's tough, but you gotta, and you have to be creative and change it up.
Yeah, you do. This is something I don't have a ton of experience in, but I'm working on. I recently hired a coach, so I use Tom Ferry, and they're really big into cold calling, and I'm a Buffini kid. Like, I was like born with Buffini, which is all referral, right? So that's been a little bit of an adjustment. Ask me in like 6 months how I'm doing on it. 'Cause-
So I'm curious, so why did you hire a coach with Tom Ferry when you had been a Buffini person and they had coaches?
Yes, they do.
So why was that your choice?
I think Buffini does a lot of things that are really, really cool, and I think that Tom Ferry does a lot of things that are really, really cool. And I have awesome mentors and agents on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I feel like I've done Buffini for the past 2 years, and it's calls to its Popeyes. Like, it is simple, it is straightforward, but I did feel like, especially with my age bracket and my like client age, like social media is a pretty big deal. I hate social media. I tell everyone I'm the world's worst millennial because I just don't like it. I don't like doing it. But I realized like that's probably a pretty important part of my business that I'm neglecting. And Tom Ferry does a ton of social media stuff, and I just figured, what's it gonna hurt, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I have one, like a year-long coaching membership with them. Let's just see how it goes.
Yeah.
And I specifically, like, you have to fill out like an intake form when you're hiring a coach to like get kind of personality match. And I said, like, I'm coming from Buffini. My coach came from Buffini. So that's really cool because she understands like my business is very, very relational. So like the cold call stuff, like, you know, it's a different avenue. It's another avenue. But like my primary business is centered around my relationships. And my coach understands that and helps me kind of like build my business around it and then like find supplemental activities or holes that I can do.
Hey, Maura, and I know it's early in the process, but how are they suggested you find the clientele? Where are they, because, it's gonna be a certain list, are they suggesting different things, or?
Yeah, great question. So Tom Ferry's a little bit of like a throw it at the wall and see what sticks, right? You might find something, you might not find something works, you might love something, you might hate something. So for like cold calls specifically, I just did like my first list of, hey, I got this listing and I want to try to circle dial around our neighborhood. I had no idea what circle dial meant 6 months ago, but I was like, I want to give this a shot. So I tried it. I hated it, and it was tough because like basically you buy a list online. It's like $30 or $40. You send them 100 like tax IDs basically, and they'll find like the contact information for you. Well, I was calling around, this listing specifically was in like North Side, so probably an area of like higher turnover too. But I called like, I don't know, probably 15 to 20 people, and like 80% of them were like wrong numbers, or like people didn't live there anymore. So it was uncomfortable.
Sure.
But it was good practice, right?
But they had a system for getting the list. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a website called Fiverr. Well, this is a website I use. So I probably don't know if I should be recommending it because I didn't really have great success with it. But it's a website called Fiverr, and you can like basically find people to do like odd jobs for you, like digitally. Now you have to be careful with it. If anyone's interested, I'm happy to send you the guy I use.
Okay.
Again, my lady like recommends him over and over, and she's like, you need to call and complain about that. And I said, okay, I will. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah.
Won't hurt you.
Won't hurt. But what else?
What do you do for your social media?
Hired someone.
That's a good call.
Yes.
I need to hire someone.
Now, I will say I did not hire a professional. I hired a girlfriend who is awesome, and she's one of my biggest cheerleaders. Like personally, professionally, she's amazing. She is like such an advocate for me, and she likes doing this, and she needed a little side hustle, and I said, I got a side hustle for you, girlfriend. So she's been great, and it's been really fun, but like she stays on top of me for it, which is cool too, because like I would never do it without it. But I still kind of kept the Buffini model of email I call her my digital marketing manager or something like that. Sounds cool and official. But she also handles like my monthly emails, so I send a monthly email in the middle of the month and at the end of the month. The middle of the month email is like, this is what's happening in the market, these are some stats, these are, what else? Like fun events happening around Richmond. We have clients that are looking for these houses, do you know anyone who matches? Like, so it's just kind of like a catch-all email, and then the last email of the month is just like a business partner highlight. So I just like highlight business partner. It's not anything crazy, but she also helps with that too, which is really nice.
Has that been helpful? Getting responses, I would think.
Yeah, it is, and it's like, I think it just helps people like top of mind. Like I always get a couple of text messages that are like, oh my god, love the Maura's Monthly Minute this month, or like, my boyfriend got it and I didn't, why not? Like, what the heck? And I'm like, check your spam folder, you know? But regardless, like, you know, it does help keep you top of mind, which is nice. And I didn't do that for my first 2 years in the business. Don't tell Benjamin.
Will follow-up boss do that for you too?
Send automatic emails.
Yes.
You can send batch emails through Follow Up Boss. The piece of advice that I got on this was don't send batch emails through Follow Up Boss, because if someone unsubscribes, then they can't get any other emails from you.
Okay.
So I send all of my like batch emails through MailChimp. Again, I don't really know the validity of it, but that's all. But it's fun. There's a bajillion different ways to do real estate, and if you come to these trainings, you'll always realize that, right? Paid leads, referral leads, natural market leads, whatever the case may be, you can just go out and talk to people. There's so many different ways to do things. I think my biggest piece of advice is be yourself. You are where you are because someone probably told you you'd be awesome in real estate, right? How many people had someone say you'd be great in real estate, you should get into it? Yeah. Jack, no one said that to you.
I'll do it.
You for sure did not tell me that.
Well, everyone told you that for a reason, right? Whether that's, you know, your energy, your mojo, your personality, your smile, the way you can easily talk to people, which I'm sure everyone in this room probably has. Like, dive into that, do what you like, and do what makes you happy. And you're gonna have to do stuff that does make you happy too, but.
So, have you had much experience with expires?
I have not touched expireds. I have not.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone else, does anyone else do expireds?
Okay, I've done it.
Yeah.
I've had a couple leads that never really panned out,
Mhm.
but I have made some cold calls on some expires, but
Yeah.
never really panned out.
Yeah, and I would say like a majority of my business is probably natural market, meaning like friends, family, friends of friends, like, which then turns into like referral. So like natural market and referral are a pretty big point of my business.
Tommy was speaking about expired this week, and he said typically those people get jumped on immediately and bashed, and they're pretty much hang up on everybody. He gives them a few months, and then he would call them back, and then they've had time to digest things, and maybe they will talk to somebody else.
Yeah, and I think one thing too, if you have clients that are looking in like a specific neighborhood, check the expired, see if you can call any of them like, hey, saw you tried to sell your house 3 years ago. Any interest in doing it now? Kevin does that all the time, and it's awesome. I don't know if he's ever been successful with it, but you might find a neighbor or someone that is.
I've had some luck with FISBOs though.
How do you tell us about
Reaching
that?
out. I had one gentleman that I reached out to multiple times who just wanted to keep selling himself, but he wasn't getting into the marketing that he needed to do. All he was doing was just like, here it is on Facebook, you know. And finally, I talked to him and we listed it and sold it. But it was like a 6-month thing. It was like every month or so. How's it going? Have you had any luck? Have you had any showings? You know, I'm happy to help you with it. And once I finally talked him through, he's like, you know what? Let's do it. And
So is that the way you started the conversation? Because I have something going on like that right now, who is someone who had originally told me that they were gonna give it to me to list, and then they had conversation, husband and wife had conversation, and she wanted to try to sell it themselves, and so I have wanted to get back in touch with him, but haven't known exactly how to approach that.
like
So-
she said, be yourself. It's your personality. It's just come across as genuine. and it's like, hey, I'm here to help. You
Yeah.
know, can I help you? Have you had any luck with, you know, any showings or anyone,
Right.
you know, approached you? Just be yourself, be honest with them. You know, it's not always about making that dollar, it's about making those, building those relationships.
Exactly.
So,
Justin Clutch is the king of building relationships with people who are like, oh yeah, like, no, maybe not. And then it's like, oh, but like I have a referral for you, right? Justin is so good at that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, man.
Make 'em feel
That's
good,
happened to
make
you a
'em feel
couple
guilty.
times
Yeah.
in the past like year where it's like, oh hey, I'm not ready to sell, but like you stay in touch with them, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh well, I'm not gonna sell or buy with you, but I know someone who does, right?
Yeah.
You've got a couple
Yeah.
of situations, right? The other thing too is like the objection handling training. Man, I always struggle with this. Maybe it's like a personality thing or a self-confidence thing or whatever the case may be, but like you never want to be, well, at least me, right? You know, I'm coming in, I'm like a sweet little ha ha ha, like, oh my gosh, that's so great, girl. But like there is a point where it's like, hey, like I understand and I hear what you're saying. And have you thought about this where it's like you want to market this yourself, but you're going to see so many more eyes if I do it versus if you try to do it yourself. I understand you're concerned about the price, but if you want to price it here, with my marketing, maybe we can try to get it closer to this mark and it makes up the difference and takes a lot of pressure off of you.
Yeah.
But again, those talk tracks, they just take time to practice.
Right.
But you just got to be yourself when you do them.
Yeah.
So. What else? Anything else? I don't want to take up some of y'all's time, but we're at 2:30. You guys got Popeyes to do?
My Popeye's in the car.
Okay. What are you giving out?
What?
What are you giving out?
This week, because of this, I'm just giving some kind of green candy or just stuff like that.
Yeah. Tchotchkes.
To stop by and, hey, I got this for you to be happier. Don't drink too much, it's candy. My husband told me to give those liquor chocolates. I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
oh no, I don't drink to drink it.
Don't drink too much, just eat candy. That's good. It's a good motto. Okay, cool. Well, that's all I really have for you guys, but bottom line, be yourself, do what works for you, talk to people, learn from people, ask for help, practice the objection handlings, and you guys will be great. Make time for it. Perfect day. It's a perfect day to be a realtor. Every day is a perfect day to be a realtor. What was the name of the training?
That's the best ad.
What was the name of the training?
Perfect realtor day.
Perfect realtor day.
Yeah.
That's it.
One
Do
thing
something fun.
I was gonna say about the calling, the blog,
Uh-huh.
I tried to do that, it never worked with me.
Uh-huh.
I can be there for 1 or 2 hours just sitting calling people. So what I do, I make a list of people that I'm gonna call that day,
Mm-hmm.
and most of the time I call them when I'm in my car.
Yep.
What I leave in my car, and works really well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when they call in the morning, they are in the middle of the project, they are doing something, they're like, oh, I'll catch up with you later on, and then I try again. I don't block my day, but at least I do the checklist of people I wanna call on that day.
Yeah.
That works for me.
One thing I really like to do too, and I didn't put this on there, but at the end of each day, write all the people that I didn't get to catch up with, or maybe I had a really great conversation with. You okay? That's okay. I just saw your eyes. I was like, uh-oh. Is I try to like go through all my text messages from the day, make sure that I answered everyone because I also hate texting. If I could throw my phone through a window and never look at it again, I would. But you can't do that as a realtor, right? You gotta be on it all the time.
Yeah.
So I always try to go through, make sure I answered everyone's text, addressed everyone, and then like if I had a really great conversation with someone that day that just like stuck out my brain, I'll just shoot them a text and be like, hey, just wanna let you know like your conversation was the highlight of my day today. Thanks so much for being awesome. Like
If
simple
somebody
touches
has
like that.
a kid's birthday or
Oh,
something,
please, get it
just call
out.
and say, hey, I just remember your child's birthday,
Yeah.
happy birthday.
Yeah.
blah,
Your kid's birthday,
Just that.
LinkedIn, Facebook, make sure your friends follow your clients on Facebook.
Yeah.
I do that like once a month, I'll go through and like double check that I have everyone on Facebook. Maybe I'm seeing other stuff, maybe they'll post, but
I hate Facebook, but I do that.
yeah, you gotta do it.
I
Or
love it.
Instagram or LinkedIn, whatever the case may be, but LinkedIn's also, I don't take advantage of it enough, but that's a really cool tool. If you have clients, because then it's like, oh my gosh, you got a promotion and you switched companies, like
That's really
saw that,
awesome.
congratulations, like such an easy reason to call. Like, if you are like struggling to call someone, just go on LinkedIn, find someone that said they just moved a job, call them and say congratulations, and they'll be so excited.
Yeah.
That's good. You guys are doing great. Alright, that's all I got. Adjourned. Unless anyone has anything else.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Laura.
you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks for
Maura.
coming.